Hi, this is John Malby from my Bookkeeper software. In this video, we're going to talk about how Bookkeeper works with direct deposit. So direct deposit is a service you can provide to your employees to let them get paid directly into their bank accounts so that you do not have to create a physical check and give to them. It's a great service to have for your employees. It allows them to get paid faster. There's no physical checks involved, and it's something that's a little more secure. And we have partnered with a company called NatPay. They are one of the leaders in ACH processing in the United States. They handle almost 200,000 clients in their ACH processing. So when Bookkeeper has established a relationship with NatPay, you first have to go to them to be able to set up an account. And they will go through the background checks and they will verify your company's information and so forth and establish an ID for you to use. And that ID gets set up within Bookkeeper. Once that's set up, as you do payroll processing within Bookkeeper, it'll use that ID as part of the file that gets transmitted to them to be able to get into the ACH system to pay your employees. So the first step is with them, and it'll show you how to set all that stuff up within Bookkeeper. Okay. So if you want to get more information about NatPay, you can just simply go to their site. You can go to natpay.com and you can find out all the information you want to know about the company and all the different options that they have. So getting back into Bookkeeper, to start the whole process, under payroll, you'll see a new option called direct deposit. And within here is an option called setup service. If you click on that, there's a place to enter your account ID and your account password. And the account ID is what is going to be established for your company through NatPay once you are set up in there. And they may give you a login ID that starts with WS user underscore and then a bunch of numbers, or they may just give you the numbers. Essentially what we want here are just the numbers. You'll want to set up a password. There is a default password that all the accounts of Bookkeeper customers have that we strongly suggest you change once you establish that account. You may change that account at the NatPay site, or you may set that up here in Bookkeeper. Now, if you want to learn more, there's a quick overview of kind of the whole process that you have to go through to be able to do direct deposit. And a thing to note about timing, NatPay will instruct you all about the timing of the payroll deposit. Typically, you want 3 or 4 business days ahead of when you want the payroll deposit to settle to your employee accounts to be able to get the file up to NatPay. So for example, if you're going to have your employees receive their checks on Friday, you'll most likely want to get your paychecks up to NatPay or the ACH file up to NatPay on that Monday or Tuesday. There are extenuating circumstances. If need be, you can send it a little bit later with a little bit less lead time, but you will have to talk with NatPay to make sure that there's enough time to be able to get it into the system and be able to make sure it hits your employee's bank account in time. To start off with, you click on the NatPay sign up link, and this will bring you to a custom page that NatPay has built for the SoftCon users. And there's information here, and you can download the application to get yourself started. So that kicks off the process that will get you your account ID and get everything all set up for you to be ready to do processing. Now also within Bookkeeper, there's a large section within the help area that talks all about how to set up your accounts, how to work with all the different elements within Bookkeeper to make sure you have everything all set properly in order to process the payroll files. So I strongly suggest you read through the whole direct deposit section within the help file to really get an understanding of what needs to get done. We'll cover it here as a quick overview, but you really should read it thoroughly to make sure you've got a good understanding. And I just want to call your attention to when you set up your NatPay account within Bookkeeper, the default password is here. So all Bookkeeper customers that are going to use NatPay are going to have this default password set up. So once you set this up and connect to NatPay, you'll want to change this password right away to something that's more secure. So Bookkeeper encrypts the password, stores it in a database, so we won't be able to get at it once you set it up. So make sure the password you select is something you're going to remember and keep it in a safe place. But as a default, everybody gets this password out of the gate. Okay. So once you have that set up and you've tested your connection, make sure everything's good, there's just a few elements that you really need to set up within Bookkeeper. So the first thing you want to do is for the company that you're in your banking and your bank accounts, you want to be able to specify the routing transit number and account number from where the funds are going to be drawn from. So this is a new field that's been added, routing transit number. Make sure these are valid, include all the leading zeros that you need to, and this is when we generate a file, this is going to identify where the funds are going to be coming from. Okay, so, and you also definitely specify whether it's a checking or savings account. So this will get verified to make sure it matches what NatPay has set up for you when you do the initial setup with them. Okay. After that, then for your employees and contractors, you do similar things. So I have an employee here, and we have new fields now for direct deposit. So you can click on this checkbox to enable direct deposit for any employee. Not all employees have to have a direct deposit. So you may have 5 employees that want it and 5 that don't, so you can just choose which ones have it. For the ones that do, you want the same thing. You want to include their bank routing number and their banking account number, and whether it's a checking or savings account. If you have contractors that you want to pay with direct deposit, we have new fields there as well. So you'll see in the details section, you'll see direct deposit. If you want them to have direct deposit, basically the same thing. Just check the box, make sure that you enter all their information that's required. And once everything is all set up, now you're ready to go and run payroll and create your direct deposit files. So if I'm just going to create, I'll just do a simple payroll run here for this person. And the key thing you want to keep in mind when we talked earlier about the timing of the payroll deposits or the direct deposits, the date here on the check is going to be the date that is used as a settlement date for the direct deposit. So if you want your employees to get paid on a Friday and today happens to be Monday, you're going to want to set this date for that Friday. All right, so in this example here, I'm just going to pick a day here, and I'm just going to say this is, I'm going to set the time period. Okay, and so now this is going to say that this check is going to settle into the employee's account on January 8th. That means I need to get this file up to NatPay 3 to 4 business days ahead of time so it has proper time to settle. All right, so I've created that, and now the check is ready to be created, and the file is ready to be created. And the way that's done is through the payroll, the print check screen. And in the print check screen, there's a new identifier for anybody who's going to be receiving a payroll deposit. You'll see ACH here. And so this means as you're printing this, what's going to happen is you are going to be printing a stub for the employee so that they can get their earnings and year-to-date information and such. And actually, if you wanted to, you could print that on blank paper. There's no reason to have check stock for it. But if you do have it on check stock, it will print out that it's a non-negotiable check, and I'll show you how to set that up in a second. But this identifies that this is going to be a transaction that is going to be part of the direct deposit file. So once I click that and I click print, all right, I get a confirmation that my direct deposit file has been created. It tells me where on my system that the file has been created, and I'll show you where those are. There is, in your My Documents section, there's a Bookkeeper folder. Within there, there's a payroll folder and a direct deposits folder within that. So you'll see Bookkeeper, payroll, direct deposit files, and then this is the name of the file. So it's going to have your account number, direct deposit file, and this will be a date and time stamp of when this file was created. Now the file hasn't been transmitted yet, it has just been created. Okay, so I'm going to click OK, and now you may be running payroll for several employees, you may do several payroll runs and so forth. So once you're ready to transmit the file, if you go to direct deposit, you'll see manage files. And in here, you'll see all the direct deposit files that have yet to be uploaded. So what you do is one at a time, you select the file, you click upload, and then Bookkeeper will transmit the file over to NatPay for processing. It will return back whether there's a success or if there's an error in the file and so forth, but you can transmit the file. Just make sure you have an internet connection and you're good to go. If for some reason you're having difficulties transmitting the file, maybe there's something happened, there's an error in the file and you just can't get it to work right, NatPay's customer service is fabulous. Just contact them, reach out to them, and they will walk you through the process of getting your information processed properly. If you need to manually upload the file to them, you can do that, and I'll show you how to get to their section where you can actually have the file manually uploaded to them. You can click the manual button, and there's a link here that says go to the manual upload site for NatPay. Clicking on this will bring you to mydirectdeposit.com site. And in here is where you would enter your NPC account number, your NatPay account number that they give you, and the password that you had set up. And you click on login. And once you get into this area, you'll be able to upload files, look at past uploads, and view the details of the different files. But here's where you would go in and manually update that file, or upload that file. And once that happens, you'll get a confirmation number. You can put that in here, and then you can click OK and save that. And then once you close out of this window and all your files are uploaded, they will get put into an archive folder, so you have them for auditing purposes or reference purposes. Keep in mind that even though you have printed the checks in the checks print queue, it does not transmit the file. This is where you actually transmit the file, and this is the point in time you need to make sure you are 3 or 4 days ahead of time before your settlement so that your payroll checks can get deposited correctly to your employees' accounts. Okay, and that's it. That's the whole summary of how to go from setting up your account with NatPay and what you need to do in Bookkeeper to be able to process that. Now, the example I went through here is with using a basic payroll. If you're using advanced payroll processing, it's the same thing. You set up your company's routing and transit number. You set up your employee and contractors routing and transit number, and make sure that the effective date is the settlement date. The effective date is typically the check date, and you'll want to make sure that those are set properly. The only other thing we didn't touch on is the check setup, and let me just show you how to do the check setup so that you don't print the check, you just print the stubs. Okay, so in the check type selection, you have your check stock that you would typically use, and you can select an option here. This is only print the check stubs. And then in the check area, you can print non-negotiable, or you can indicate that the amount has been deposited directly to the payee's bank account. You can choose either one of these options, or you can just decide I don't want to print anything in the check area, just make it a blank check. You can do that as well. All right, so you want to make sure that this gets set up prior to doing your printing of the check, so that it doesn't print an actual check, that it just prints the stub portion you give to your employees. And that's all there is to it. So again, this is NatPay, again, is a fee-based service, is not free. So once you set up with them, they will go over there's a small setup fee, there's a nominal monthly charge and a nominal per transaction charge. They can go over all of that with you based on your needs. So again, Bookkeeper just integrates with them. It's just a service that we use, and once you establish a relationship with them, you just let them know that you're using Bookkeeper through SoftCon, and they'll be able to take care of the rest for you. And that's all there is. So thanks very much for watching, and thanks for being a Bookkeeper customer.